On this Ash Wednesday, let's reflect on what Jesus teaches us about fasting. Please first pause this video and have a read of Isaiah 58 verses 1 to 9 and Matthew chapter 9 verses 14 to 15. So, a reflection on fasting as we begin the season of Lent today. Eat, drink and be merry, for tomorrow we diet. Fasting is in fashion. Consult many of the fasting diet books and mobile apps, and you'll find all kinds of promises that fasting will help you slim, improve your brain function, and even make you live longer. Beyonce, J-Lo, and Benedict Cumberbatch are among the many celebrity devotees of what's known as the 5-2 diet. 5 days a week of eating normally, and 2 days a week of fasting. The Pharisees of Jesus' day may well have approved, for their fast was a 5-2 plan as well. 2 days of fasting every week. This was nowhere prescribed in the Torah, but the Pharisees took it upon themselves to add these stringent fasting obligations. Why? Not to reduce their waistline, but to increase their piety. And John the Baptist's disciples too were fasters, most likely fasting penitentially in sorrow for their sins. Why then, when both groups of faithful, observant Jews are serious about fasting, why on earth does Jesus of Nazareth have gluttonous banquets with sinners where both he and all his followers cast aside their duty to fast? As always, in the face of a challenging question, Jesus replies with a challenging question. How can the guests of the bridegroom mourn while he is with them? It's a shocking response, making an extraordinary claim. The disciples of Jesus are cast members in a cosmic drama. They are guests at a wedding. And as everyone knows, a wedding is an occasion for the greatest joy and feasting possible. The fasting of John's disciples and the Pharisees was more than just piety. It was about continually marking Israel's present condition, for she was still in a degree of exile, still living in lament, without the fulfillment of God's promised reign. The prophet Zechariah's promise that fasts would turn to feasts could only come true when God restores the fortunes of his people, and he will do that with the coming of the Messiah and the dawn of the new age. This is precisely the claim of Jesus. The party is in full swing because the time is fulfilled. The exile is over. The bridegroom is here. So bring out the finest wine, lay out a banquet, dance, sing, rejoice, invite everyone, because your king has come to you. But Jesus goes on to explain that the now of his presence, the now of his joy, will soon be followed by his absence. He will be taken from them. And at that point, the feasting of his disciples will turn to fasting once more. And so here we are today, called to witness in this present age, the now and the not yet. The victory is won. The King Jesus is on his throne. The Spirit is with us. And yet we long for the final chapter. Death is all around us still. Sorrow and struggle remain constant. And so it is that we are both a fasting and a feasting people. We fast, particularly in this season of Lent, and in all kinds of other ways and at other times too. We fast because we long for the bridegroom, for him to be fully present again in our midst. We must fast as Isaiah calls us to do, in repentant humility. A turning back to God is always also a turning back to neighbour. The two are inseparable. When we empty ourselves, it attunes us to the emptiness of the world and our calling unto God to work for justice and peace. and we feast. In the midst of the stubborn brokenness of this world, we feast. We live joyfully. We live in gracious, generous hospitality. We dance and sing, and we invite everyone to know that their King has come. We gather around a table of thanksgiving, breaking bread and drinking wine, with the sure and certain hope that we anticipate the final wedding feast of Jesus and his bride, when hunger of every kind will be no more.